Yeah.
Okay. I got a letter from a lawyer who wants a painting. But he wanted, best of all, he wanted a painting which was right next to the 2nd Avenue Deli. Not really. It was supposed to have the 2nd Avenue Deli, and then on this side, a place where we used to hang out called Gem Spa. And here is the letter of the people in the painting. Can I give you the photograph because I think it's better to show it to you on here. Here's Gem Spa.
Many of you know this corner very well.
And those of you who don't have to look now because it probably doesn't exist anymore. And here is the painting in a photograph. Okay? And now I'm going to read to you the people in it. As you can see, Eric and I were not photography experts, and the ones done on the street, I did, and I'm even worse than Eric was.
Oh no.
Yes.
Sorry, folks.
And here is, this one is not as good as the one you just showed, but show it anyway.
If it's the same thing, okay.
Okay, now I'm going to read to you. I just had the people in it, but if I don't have them right now, I'll have them eventually.
Here, Mom, this is it right here.
No, that's my writing, but his letter is right here. Okay? Can all of you hear me well? Am I sitting up straight? Okay. Dear Hedy, thank you very much for your most recent letter. That's his, but that's not the one I wanted to read. Life gets very complicated when you're not very organized. It would be written on better stationery than my Xerox ones, but I'll find it sooner or later, so don't worry. And I'll do other things instead. Okay?
Sure. Just
Okay.
read other things, that's fine.
It's and his writing because he's a lawyer, he was very precise, and I would like to learn from that. When I found out that number 60 was going to be done today, I went to all his mail hoping that I could find something recent, but his mail is from long ago.
If not, let's not worry about it. Let's not
We
get
won't.
lost in this.
Okay, I won't worry about it.
Okay.
And since I'm not worrying, let me enjoy.
I got that, Mom. I got that.
I got it. Put it right here, and I'll sort it out later. Okay. What I just gave you, Kenny, and I have heard other people doing podcasts, and none of them are perfect, which gives me a lot of hope.
Very true.
Okay? I'm opening one more that he does class actions, and he asked me if I knew of anything about the ones that he wrote.
Oh, I saw that.
No, it's in a few letters. Let's not even try.
Let's not even try.
No.
Just go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Painting number 60. I love doing this painting because it brought me back to the 2nd Avenue Delhi area, one of my favorite spots in the Lower East Side. Larry Schonbrun had spent much time at Gem Spa during his time in New York, and he loved the area as much as I did. We corresponded for many years, and he sent me a list and photos of the people he wanted to include in the painting. In front of the deli are its owner, the chef and customers, and Larry is also pictured in the painting. Gem Spa is on the other side, a few blocks back. Some of the people in the painting are William Leon, Dale C. Jones, Maria Hogolisi, George Bartanift, Larry Schwartz, Sally Seto, Stanley Volchuk, who made flags. Lenny is first on the left, and Neil is second on the right.
Lenny is first on the left. And Neil is second.
Okay? Ready for more?
Ready for more? And meanwhile,
Yes.
Marcia Goldstein-Graber says, "Hi, Hedy." And Shirley Baker says, "Hi, Hedy, I've missed you." And Eileen Cutler said, "Hello, dearest Hedy. Take your time." And Marcia said, "It's wonderful to see you, Hedy." And Tammy sent a heart.
Okay. Now let me tell you something. How strange and wonderful coincidences are. Let me tell you about my wonderful day today, okay? My son went to New Paltz a long, long time ago. Kenny, when was that when you went to New Paltz?
1977 to 1980.
Okay. Kenny, and could you take your mask off? Because here's what happened. The man who gave me a wonderful day today said to tell you he loves your voice.
Mm-hmm.
And he is the reason why you met Eileen Cutler,
Oh.
who is her friend, who found me, the man from Sweden, for the photograph that he sent. But let me tell you something important. This painting, which you're going to be speaking about, which I'm going to speak about later, is done. The plan was to have people send me photographs of how they see themselves. And I would use those because I could no longer travel. The pandemic was here. I can't drive. I wanted to paint, so I did that. But I found out it was okay for doing the people I knew every day. But photographs didn't do it for me if I had never met them. Today, this friend of Eileen's, whose name is Ed Weidman, he came. And I said, you know what? I have photographs of yours, but it's not what I'm going to use. I'm going to draw you. I'm going to draw you and get to know you. And then I don't need any photographs anymore. Well, he gave me the most wonderful day. For me, the wonder really began after I fell and had to go for rehab in this wonderful Park Avenue in Long Beach, where I had as much time as I wanted to draw people. I was used to doing people who were lying on park benches, people who were looking at their watch. Are you done yet? But at Park Avenue, people were there for rehab, and they had time. And I learned something that I had never known. I always used to begin in sketches, sort of a quick shape for the outline of the face, and then refine it as I went along. There I learned, and all of you artists, this is miraculous, learn one item, and it'll sharpen your brain. So I would begin on the eye, and I would be so careful. Kenny, in the plexi cabinet right on the corner, yes, there is a big sketchbook. Could you give it to me?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't bring it out because it's so big. Because when I saw Ed and my normal sketchbooks, I said, no, Ed, this won't do. Okay? And I brought out my big sketchbook. And I said, now, could you promise, because you'll be coming many times, could you promise to wear the same shirt? And he agreed. No, I can't show it until I have explained it.
Oh, sure.
Okay? So today I had unlimited time because he was wonderful. He said I had unlimited time. I said, you mean you'll come again? He said, sure. And so I said, then I don't need the little sketchbook. I can get the big one. And I did. And I began with the circle. And then I looked at his hair and the way his hair shapes him and his beard and his mustache. I thought, I'm going to begin with the eye. And I began with the eye. And a miracle happens. If you do something long enough, your brain prepares and has a little box ready for you. You're going to be seeing it because he's coming again on Wednesday, and you're going to see it growing.
Do you want me to hold it up?
Wait,
Do you want me to hold it up?
the what?
Do you want me to hold it up?
Yes, you will. And I can speak as we do it. Can you memorize it? Because next week you will see much more done, because on Wednesday he's coming again. To have a model where you don't have to hurry only comes when that's what you need. I'm going to work differently, live differently. I decided, and for that I have to read. I've been doing writing, and then my printer didn't work, and Kenny walked in and he fixed it.
And
So
I just
now-
want to tell you that Eileen said Eddie Weidman loved his visit with Hedy today. And Marilu said, wow, to your drawing.
This will be one of the best drawings I've ever done
And
because...
Eileen's, I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
Eileen said, oh my God, that portrait so captures Eddie.
Yes.
Amazing work, Hedy.
You know what it is? We are more than a photograph can do. Our friend Hernan, who chronics my family, he sent me photographs of Jessie of 9 years ago. I look at those faces, and with it comes a whole story. I remember how he felt, how he laughed, how he moved, because I know him. Somehow, artists should know photographs are guides, but to sit next to the person is who we are. And let me begin. This has nothing to do with the drawing, but it has to do with everything I'll be painting from now on. I used to have different meanings for the words of young and old, and they changed as I aged from one into the other. And now that I am living over 92 years on this earth, I am deciding to see if I could overcome some of the hurdles facing me. I will begin with my brain and my memory. My carelessly putting things down and spending so much time in finding them later. How much precious time did I lose of my future? You see, those 92 and a half years make me realize time is not forever. I feel younger now than I did when I was 9 years old. When I was 9 years old, I didn't think of life. If you don't think of something, it doesn't exist. I keep a daily diary, but if I skip one day, will I remember everything carefully tomorrow? No, I won't. But all that can be fixed. But will I remember to do so? Yes, if I handled every issue at the moment it arises. Yet I have become nonchalant about my use of time because there's always tomorrow. Well, there isn't. One careless crossing of the street, one truck overturning like it did in Rockville Center, which caused a huge explosion, which means where I used to go to get my shoes done, is gone. And for the last few days, I have learned to do what I've intended to do at the moment. And life became so much easier as I treated my work with, quote, respect, as I learned from Dr. Joe Schrand's books. But as his book also did, it led me to respect people. I thought, if I respect my letters and my work, do I give the time to people that I need to? My son is a psychotherapist. And he said to me long ago, you don't have to look for a happy answer. You can allow yourself the grief. But I've always jumped over the grief because I didn't want it to ruin the happiness. And so I began to listen, to write. In childhood, I shared my home with my parents, and they created the rules, as did my older brother. And bit by bit, we broke the rules and managed to deal with the results, and yet still love each other by obeying the basic needs of each one of us. Are you listening to that? By obeying the basic rules of each of us. Each of us has a set of rules. They were put in because of our parents. They were put in because we wanted to be like somebody else. They were put in because they seemed to work for Sydney. But I didn't question if they would work for me. That's the learning. But then came living away from home, and all the rules changed. I went to art school, and they were teaching what I wasn't interested in. A paid model stood there, and she didn't move. But that's not what people do. People move. It didn't work for me. When I quit art school, my parents were shocked. But I had found out that going into the street and sitting on park benches and drawing the people who were waiting to be drawn, they were sleeping or clutching a bottle, and they didn't move. But I got used to when they moved, I could move with them. There's a woman in the subway who got up and moved, and I followed her until she sat down again in a different train across the aisle. And I was happy. And then I was a married woman, and my husband and I learned new rules and were willing to live by them. And then we had 2 children, and the rules changed again. I loved my life, and yet always lived with a dark corner which kept intruding into it. And I thought I had banished it, and yet it kept returning. When Hitler invaded Vienna, the city I was born into, my sense of safety vanished. We were rescued by the greatness of a neighbor, then by visas from Panama, and life in the USA. But always there was that corner which told me the world could grab everything away when I least expected it. And so that corner kept saying, but look what can happen. And suddenly that corner disappeared. How did it disappear? It was when my feelings took center stage. If I spoke to you, they lurked them back. And I decided, when I allow myself to be center stage, I don't have time to hear you. Because if you tell me about a problem, and I say, I understand, I've been there too. No, I have not. Nobody has been there except you, the person. And by not letting my feelings be center stage, I'm not comforting you. I've stopped hearing. I am going to spend the rest of my life learning to hear. Maybe 92 and a half is late, but it's so much better than never doing it. And this is what I wanted to do with you. I would like to make my broadcasts give the meaning to your life that I have in mind. Okay? I have very little time left, but my son, who is my mentor in these, said to me, have everything prepared so there isn't time where you have nothing to say. What I want to hear any comments. Now,
yes,
could
and
you?
Anybody who has any reflections on what Hedy said, feel free to keep writing them as people are doing.
Yes. And one more thing, Kenny, with me you don't need the mask now. But as you read the people's comments, could you take your mask off?
Okay.
But wear the masks everywhere because it's wonderful.
So you've missed, what you've missed is lots of hearts and crying faces and joyful faces, just a kind of like constant like stream of like people's emoji responses.
I want faces. I want words.
Yes, I've got words for you too. So Tammy Smith says, yay Kenny. Tammy Smith also says, to you, I so appreciate your wisdom, and it's never too late. And Laura Silver loved what you said. Carol Hodkin gave a heart. JT, John Terracuso, hi Hedy, big hugs from California. And Shirley Baker says, listening can be the greatest gift you give someone. Lots of hearts pouring through. Yes.
Then let me, if you're done, I need to talk about 2 photographs. One of them comes from Shirley, and it's a little church, but it's looking so peaceful with the grass and the sky and the yellow of the church. But it wouldn't have had the meaning if her words would not have been there. And I said to Shirley, you should do something where the words you write should go with the picture. Because what you wrote there, I won't say because it was personal, but it belonged to the photograph. And then the photographs that Dina sent of her, this little Dina, with these huge cameras that she went back to. And inadvertently, I cannot find them, so I must have them again for next week. If you would see little Dina from the back, crouched on the ground, and this monster machine with arms in front of her, she knew the cameras that she was using were not her spirit. She asked for a different camera. And I think we need that as a lesson for everybody. I think I'm done, right? I have 2 more minutes.
You do, and there are some things that some people said.
I'd love it.
Tammy Smith said, listening requires you to be still. Being still is hard. And Marilu Bilgray de Rodriguez says, after hearing you, you left me speechless. Lessons of life. Thank you, Cousin Hedy. Thank you. And Marcia said, when I speak with you, I know I've been heard. Lots of hearts.
Oh, and could I just mention, whatever you read about the world, please know that miracles occur. My relative, Jose, is doing the same thing I'm doing. He's doing it with immigrants. Please, please, Jose, tell me more. Send me whatever you think, because our job is to change the world and make it better. Thank you. I love you all.